we on? You were on. Okay, team. So yesterday, a post cropped up on my Instagram feed that was talking about a 75-year-long study that had been completed, linking children who did chores to self-esteem in adulthood. Now, on the surface, it's not something that particularly piqued my interest, but I am obviously very much interested in self-development, and I was curious as to what the specific link between doing chores as kids was to self-esteem in adulthood. Because yeah, I can understand how doing chores as a kid might develop kind of like a work ethic and things like that. But even if we develop work ethic, how does that link to self-esteem? And so I was curious because it made me think of a few things that I've come across before and a bit of a approach to coaching that I've adopted a little bit, which you guys maybe don't know about, but I will let you in on the some behind the scenes stuff that goes on in my head. So I think that one of the best things that I can do as a coach sometimes is not get involved, is not try and help you out. Because if I do that too much, then I'm taking away your chance to build resilience, grit, perseverance. And obviously, a lot of what I talk about in coaching and in Tough Cookie is it was going beyond just the physical training into using training as a practice for the rest of the world. And so, if we can get through like a 10-minute flow piece that's difficult and hard work, then we can deal with a meeting that we've got at work. You know, we're able to cope with things almost like a little bit of a safe area to practice hardship so that we can deal with daily life more. Anyway, it got me thinking, and I decided to go off and do a little bit more research on what other studies there are on things that determine how we approach later life and our kind of ability to be successful and to be happy and things like that. And a few of the bits of research that came up were things that I've already come across, which is probably why this thing piqued my interest in the first place. One of the bits of research that came up was by Carol Dweck, who wrote the book Mindset. And I've read this book, Mindset, which is all about a growth mindset. And it's realizing that, you know, we can go by the information that we've got, but there's always opportunity to discover more. And if we're open to it, we can learn more. And it might mean that sometimes we recognize that we were wrong in the first place, and that's okay. And so this growth mindset seems to be very much linked to um, being a kind of like a more developed, happier adult. There was other research by Angela Duckworth, who wrote the book Grit. And again, another really good book that I've read. And her research was all about perseverance, hardship, and again, all of that umbrellaed under the word grit, and how hardship and how we face hardship and how we learn from it and overcome it, and how failure can help us again be more successful as we're adults, so we can kind of use that to learn more, to develop more, and to grow. um, then I also came across self-determination theory, which is where the idea is we as human beings have an innate need to be competent and to I can't remember the specific words that we used, but to basically be needed to be able to do things. So we had to be able, or we had to feel like we are able to take care of things and do things and have the ability to do things like this. It's almost an innate need for us to feel this kind of satisfaction as an adult. That, along with this 75 year long study on self esteem, kind of all came together to essentially illustrate that some of the things that help us become, I guess, like better versions of ourselves in adulthood come from harder tasks, and being able to complete harder tasks, being able to stay the course, stick with it, push through, not be afraid of failure, not be afraid of difficulty, and kind of use those moments to help us grow and to help us be better. And this is something that I've sort of tried to adopt as a coach a little bit, which is when you're finding something difficult, I'll not always step in. I'll not always give you the answer or give you the cue, not as a way to just be an uncaring coach. It's quite the opposite. I recognize that one of the best ways for you to improve not just the physical task that you're doing, but also to develop mental resilience and robustness and capacity and your ability to deal with the difficulty inside the gym, but also using what we do as inside the gym as a practice for the rest of life. If we can build or give you little exposures to hardship and to failure and to difficulty here, then you're more able to deal with it outside. Now, that can be very counterintuitive sometimes because your initial instinct when somebody is finding something difficult is to jump in and help out and to be there for them. And especially with the community that we've got in Tough Cookie Training, we're all about support and being there for people. But if we take that too far, if we're helping out when maybe it's not time yet or it's not necessary yet, there is another side to this coin, and it's again something that came up in my research, which was when you're overly helped by other people or when you're overly supported by other people, it can start doing the reverse. We can start becoming less resilient. We can start becoming have less capacity for the hardships of life. We can be less able to deal with failure, and so we actually start going backwards. We become almost like less able, kind of less tolerant, less capable human beings when we get overly helped. And so, again, this is where part of my coaching comes into not trying to step in too much and not trying to always be there, not trying to give you the answer or the solution to everything, but to just say, keep trying, try, like figure it out and do more and do better. But I think that's something that is worth us all knowing and all learning because, again, especially with SGPT or in the gym environment, potentially even when we're doing things like Saturday sweats, we can be overly eager to help out, whether that be shouting support at somebody because we think that by shouting support that is going to push them on, but maybe what they really need underneath it all is some internal dialogue telling them to push through. And if they're constantly getting that external motivation, then they don't ever build this internal dialogue, this internal motivation. It could be, when somebody's struggling to get through their reps, you jump in to help out and you get some reps done while they can have a rest. When actually what they need to do is persevere and just keep trying. And even if it means that they're going slow and it's gritty and it's hard, that's the very thing that is actually going to help them develop. Not just in terms of resilience, but in also self belief. Like, oh man, I actually got through that myself. I did it without help. That is more valuable and more important than just getting the workout done, especially on something like a Saturday sweat. And so it's something for us to take in from both sides of the coin, not looking for help too soon, but also not providing it too soon. And trying to see if we can find that threshold, that fine line between now's not the time. I can see they're struggling. I can see they're struggling. They're really finding this difficult. They are okay, they're nearly at their limit now. They're about to stop or they're about to quit. I'll jump in and now I'll help them. So for us to recognize not to help out too soon, not to jump in and lift the weight for them or to get the bar or to, not to jump in and help out too soon, but also not to leave it too long that the person feels unsupported and just seeing if we can find a better medium, a better middle ground that is actually going to help us more as human beings than just helping out. If we help out too much, we're actually undermining them. We're actually doing them a disservice. So we're probably wanting to fight our natural instincts just a little bit longer in order to actually be somebody who is genuinely helping the other people around us. Something that I try to do as a coach, and I 100% recognize that I don't always get it right, Um, but at least I'm trying and practicing and I'm aware. And I think that it's something for you guys as well to take away, to not look for help too soon, but also to not give help too soon. That being said, there is a threshold point at which, yeah, you should be reaching out and you should be asking for help and we should be jumping in and helping each other. But I would suggest that we err on the side of more support and helping out faster than leaving it a bit longer. So we probably want to shift that a little bit closer towards not jumping in and helping too soon, and not being so supportive that we're actually um, doing more harm than good. Interesting one to think about, and I know that's again always another long chat, but I think some of these longer form bits of information are worthwhile to help explain properly the value and the reasoning behind it. So hopefully that's been nice and useful and worthwhile for you to watch this video, and something to try and practice as we go forwards. So thank you very much for watching, as always. Implement this if you can as we go through from now on, but also kind of enjoy facing those harder tasks and coming out the other side feeling accomplished for doing it yourself as well. Team, thank you very much.